You are now. You should be.
Check, check, there we go. All right. Good afternoon. Welcome to June. I'm supposed to stand here. We have, hopefully, are we broadcasting? All right, we're broadcasting. We've got our conference call system back up and working, so everything should be good. All right? Let's take it to Miss.
No, I'm ready. Testing. Let's bow for a moment of prayer. Heavenly Father, we are actually grateful for these times when it reminds us that we're not perfect. So we have to lean and depend on you. It puts us back in a place of humility, the place that you've called us, because our job is to be servants of the Most High. So God, as we continue to serve one another in this community of faith, we ask that you would continue to just rest, rule, and abide with us. Be with us in our meeting, be with us in our planning, be with us in our execution, that we might always bring you glory. Use our hands to be of service to you. Use our words to be of encouragement. Help us to show the love to others that you've shown to us. We bless you and praise you for it in Christ's name. Amen.
Thank you, Miss Etta. We should just have you immediately go next, but that's not the agenda. So it would make sense, right, if she would just go right into spiritual life, but since you're already talking. Amend the agenda. We'll amend the agenda next month. We had Miss Cher is going to come up and give you our sales update, and again, welcome to June and the heat.
Thank you. We have been very busy. We've had a lot of events. We've had a lot of guests on the property. We had 8 tours scheduled from the ribbon cutting ceremony, so that's good. There were about 15 new people visiting us that day, and we have 8 tours scheduled, so we're hopeful that that will happen. I do have our numbers. We are year-to-date occupancy fee move-ins, $1,556,950. We have a pending contract for an apartment at Nora Rife, $172,500. So that gives us $1,729,450 contracted and contracts pending. We are behind last year. We're having some growing pains and some stretching pains, but I'm hopeful that we'll catch up. I had a tour just before I came today, and we looked at an apartment upstairs in the 4-bunker building. The good news is the lady loves the apartment and she's ready to take it. The minor bad news is she had a bit of a medical emergency, very minor, but we got to show her how our emergency response team came to aid her. So she was very impressed with that. She'd heard about the button, she'd heard about the pull cord, she'd heard about our nursing team, and how we will evaluate her when she's moving in, and we were able to take a good response to her right away. So I do see new residents, Lori and Glenn Dennison. Would you like to say hello? And if you haven't seen them with their very cool guy, Solomon. Moses, I'm sorry. Where did Solomon come from? Moses. He's been out and about on the property, and we love having him here. We have 35 people on the waiting list, but we do have 3 houses to sell and 4 duplexes to sell, and 10 apartments to sell, 2 of which I think I may be getting a deal on, hopefully today. Fingers crossed, not sure. We have one of our most popular events next Wednesday. It's the downsizing event. I do have prospects who have come to that 5 years in a row, and they're still working on their downsizing. Nicole from Organized Haven will speak that day, and she has moved a lot of our residents in, done a lot of those move-ins. We just moved Monty Haskins in. I don't see Dr. and Billy Haskins, but that is Dr. Haskins' brother. And of course, I want to remind you that we have the resident referral that is different now with Westminster. So it's $200 a month, every month, for 12 months, $2,400 if you refer a friend and they register that you referred them. So please think of us. We appreciate all of your referrals, and that's where our best source of new residents always comes from. Thank you.
Thank you, Cher. Anybody any questions for Cher? All right. So as new residents, one thing we do in each of our Chat with Doug meetings when our new residents come, right, and everybody is very familiar with this system, is we have you tell us if you were a Disney character, what Disney character you would be. No, I'm just kidding. We don't do that. We don't do that. But we're going to do that in our sales conference. So far, some of the folks think that Cher might be Elsa from Frozen, and I'm Captain Hook. So, right. All right. Next on our agenda is Miss Samantha with Resident Life. Samantha, come on up. You got your own mic. All right. And we'll be sure to repeat questions if there are any questions, so everybody can hear.
Good afternoon, everyone. It's so good to see your faces. Just want to give you an update of what's going on for the wonderful month of June. Can you believe it? It's June 5th. So Friday, June 7th, we will be having our wine and cheese tasting, and that filled up quickly. So thank you so much for responding. We was able to accommodate a lot of people, so thank you so much for that. And that's going to be in the Floor Bunker game room at 2:30 to 4, I believe. And then on June 14th, we're still taking sign-ups for that. That's going to be our Father's Day backyard bash down there. About this year, we normally do it in the Drain Park, but this year, and I want to give kudos to Mr. Jono, there's a spot right behind the pool, and there's a beautiful area back there, and he told me, Sam, I could put tables and chairs, we can do the cornhole, they can be next to the pool. We said, let's do it. So we're doing something just a little different this time. June 19th, we're going to the Dunedin Candy Factory, and after that, we'll be going to Arabella's for lunch. And we're just trying to fill up on different activities. So July and August, because it's hot, it's going to be kind of light. We're going to do some light things, but we still will have some outings. And we're looking forward for you to just sign up and come and partake. Give suggestions. We take them all, and we'll just go down that row until we hit everybody's favorite spot. Sounds good? Okay, do you have any questions for us in life? And I'm so sorry, let me mention one more thing. Miss Allison is having her annual bake sale on June 20th from 7:30 to 12 in the sunroom, and they're taking donations as well. This is for the Alzheimer's. So if you see Allison or Miss Ann and you want to give a donation, those are the two lovely ladies that you would give your donation to. So now I can circle back. Any questions? Oh, my apologies. You went past it when you was coming in. That's right. We'll have to give you a tour. But when you was coming in, it's that big, pretty room. You just walk right past it. But trust me, on June 20th, you will not go past it. Follow your nose. Yes, all the goodies will be in there. I promise you, you won't miss it. But that is the sunroom, and we'll be happy to give tours or anything else that you might need. And again, welcome to the campus and welcome to the family.
So if anybody has any suggestions for outings, events, trips, things like that, if you don't want to, email or call us, Amanda, you're welcome to put that suggestion in any of the comment boxes, and we will get them collected and get your idea, some attention. Yes, sir.
Back on April 1st, one of our guests for the Academy, Brenda Alvarez, graduate from now I'm going blank, or Stanford, in California, a migrant girl that raised strawberries and went on to the Heights and now is starting immigration law training. She spoke and was impressed our people that were present about the charter school, community charter school for migrant children down in Mulberry. And there was such a response that a number of folks said, we'd like to take a tour of that school. And I already talked with Samantha, she said yes. So as soon as we can get a date with Danny Higgins, the principal, we'll announce it, and as many of y'all can come to fill the bus, we'll do that.
Excellent. Outstanding. I know that in addition to that, we have a trip or two or three, depending on how many veterans that we have that are going to take advantage of it, going over to McDill and getting the new IDs. Right, so we have, so if anything that you think of, get a tour, if we can make it happen, absolutely, right? All right, we're going next to Katie to give us our assisted living and COVID update. Dum, dum, dum.
Hello. So how's everybody? Okay. I have some unfortunate news. COVID has returned. So we do have currently 3 cases in independent living. So I'll just go around. So if you have a fever, what should you do?
Take 2 aspirin and call me in the morning.
All right. And if you have a sinus infection, what should you possibly do?
Control the fever. And then? Drink water. And call Katie.
COVID.
Thank you. So somebody thought they had a sinus infection, and unfortunately, it turned out to be that she had COVID. Okay. So, if you have a sinus infection, if you are feeling run down, please give me a call, okay? Let me know if you're having an issue. We have a nurse here at least 16 hours a day. So please let us know if there's anything happening with you, okay? And what's our best way to get rid of bacteria? Thank you.
Wash your hands. All right. Yep, good information. All right. Next, back to Miss Etta with our spiritual life update.
Thank you, Doug. Well, on June 9th, It's this Sunday at 10 o'clock. You are more than welcome to join us in the chapel. The Beginner Bells will have their debut concert. And we're excited about that. I'm not going to give away, there's some surprises in there, but I'm not going to give them all away. But Deanne and Margaret have been leading the group in that, and so they're going to perform a couple selections for our chapel worship for this Sunday. So those of you who can, it's 10 o'clock. You can be here in the chapel and just enjoy a few melodies for the summer program. For this month, we've got 3 memorial services, and I know one or two have been advertised, but not all 3. I need to let you know. This Saturday is Ken Pennington's service, and I'm telling you because it's going to be a big service. I'm pretty sure a lot of folks will be in attendance. Don't stay home because you don't think there's room, because everybody will probably be thinking the same thing that you're thinking. So if you want to come on out. It will be at 10:30 here in the chapel. There will not be refreshments afterwards because many of you will be going from there directly to lunch. And I've asked the family if they can stay and go to lunch as well so you can have time to visit them there. And they thought that was a good idea. So the refreshments afterwards will be lunch downstairs. Otelia Gleason's family today just notified me a few minutes ago they are going to do a service for her. It will be Tuesday, June 11th at 10:30 at St. Joseph's here in Lakeland. The interment will be at Bushnell, and many of you know now the policies for Bushnell is immediate family only. So if you were planning on tailing along with them there, they've asked that you just consider just coming to the service on Tuesday at 10:30 at St. Joseph's, and then the family is going to travel, just the family alone, to Bushnell. Judy Collier will have a service this month, but it's a private service that will happen in there. So just make sure that we're keeping these families in prayer as we're moving throughout our day. For July, well, the end of June and 1st of July, we're going to start our back to school supply gathering. We support 2 schools every year, Oscar J. Pope and Jesse King Elementary. If you're ever in the neighborhood of those schools, just drive by or ask the principal or assistant principal for a walkthrough of the schools. They are 2 of our most underprivileged schools here in Polk County. We've got many of our residents who actually volunteer at one or both of the schools, which is fantastic. But every school year, we get their supply list, and we supply their classes with treasure boxes where the kids for their orientation day, actually we partner with other teams, and they get a backpack and the kids can take their supply list and actually walk the tables. And last year we had 4 full grades that did not have to buy supplies because of your donations. And that was marvelous because the parents said they could then send their monies to buy uniforms, because the kids have to have uniforms and shoes and things of that sort. So those of you who want to participate in that, more information will come out. Carol and I already have the supply list, but we'll post those and we'll let you know where the collection spots are. From there, we'll communicate that to you. I know some of you even did gift cards for the homeroom schools, which is fine. I'm going to ask you, if you're going to do monies for the school, that you do it in gift cards for the school so they can be accountable and I can be accountable. If you're doing donations for supplies, that will be different. But if you're doing it directly to the school, we'll do it that way. But you'll get information on that. But I know that it's a wonderful opportunity for us to partner in the schools that are right here in our community. And what a joy it is to see the faces of the children when they're getting their supplies and they know that they come from Westminster, Lakeland this year. So I thank you for that. Any questions for me? Wonderful. Are you doing your homework? Those of you who know you have homework. Okay, I'll see you later then.
Do they know they have homework?
They know they have homework.
All right. Awesome. So before we get to the health center update, since last month, we had a banquet up in Orlando, and it celebrated a couple different things. It celebrated some of our long-term team members who have served here at the community 35 plus years. So we had Miss Linda, Miss Mary, Miss Ann, and Mr. Rick, all honored at the banquet last month. It was really great. And then each of the communities had a volunteer of the year, recognized at the banquet. It was super nice. The residents really got into it. So it'll be something that we'll be driving through resident life with Miss Amanda here as well. So Westminster Lakeland next year will be represented at this banquet. They've been doing it, I think, for 25 years now. So it's a big part of what they do. So if you do see those folks around campus, and Mr. Carl for being employee of the quarter, we want to continue to thank them for everything that they do. All right. We want to bring up our folks from the health center. I want to introduce you to Miss Alyssa Durant. I don't think you were here at this meeting last month, right? So we're going to introduce you to Alyssa, who's our new health services administrator, right? She has oversight of both the health center and our assisted living facility, and we're going to give you the update from there. So Alyssa, introduce yourself, say a few things.
Good afternoon. My name is Alyssa Durant. I am the administrator over the health center as well as the assisted living. I have about 15 years in long-term care experience. I've been at a lot of different nursing homes over the last year. Doug and I met at Kindred, if you're familiar with that hospital. And now I'm here with all of you lovely people. What's going on in the health center? So much. I started on the 15th, and it's been kind of like a busy couple of weeks. Right now, we actually just came from Lakeland Regional. We met with Dr. Haight. Dr. Haight is actually our medical director. For those of you who are not familiar with him, he is over the health center. And we were meeting with case management there. We're actually meeting with 2 new hospitalists that are coming out of the Watson Clinic. Many of you are familiar with Watson Clinic? Yes? Okay. So it's I call him Dr. A because I don't want to mess up his name, but I think it's Abuleta, something like that. And the other doctor is Dr. Rios. So they're going to be our new attending physicians, and they also have a mid-level, her name is Ashley Linton. We also are starting a new podiatrist. They're in the process of credentialing. So I'm not podiatrist, sorry. Sounds for Seniors, a hearing company. So we're in the process of credentialing them. So the good thing about Sounds for Seniors is not only do they see the residents in the health center, if anybody that lives in the community or in the AL or IL, they will actually do a free hearing screening for free. And then, of course, if there is some additional services that's needed, or if you do need some hearing aids or whatever, they will go over the different types of hearing aids. And I guess they have like the Toyota of them and then the Lamborghini of them. So it all depends on what you really want to hear. There's so much going on. We can kind of, talk all day. Our ALF is getting pretty full. I think towards the end of the month, I think we might only have 2 more apartments available in the ALF sector. And then, of course, we're working with the outside physicians to fill up our health center. And I want everybody to remember that the health center is not a long-term care center. We typically, our residents there come in for rehab, and then they either go back to their ALF, or if they live independently, they go back home. So when you guys, if whatever happens and you do have to go to a higher level of care, if you go to LRMC or Watson Clinic, make sure you let them know that you want to come back to our health center. Many of you have managed care replacements. And one of the things that we talked about at LRMC is that we're not contracted with all of the managed care companies. But because you are a resident of Westminster, a lot of your managed care companies will do a one-time contract here because you're a resident here. So still make sure that you're mentioning that you are a resident of Westminster if you would need therapy or something like that. And I'm going to turn it over to Dawn, my DON.
So we've had really great things going on in our PMG. Right now, we did have some residents graduate, and so that has been difficult. But we're looking to, we are looking at some possible admissions for our long-term care. Our short-term rehab is doing really well. We have a lot of exciting things coming up. We're still 100% of our own staff. We have not used agency in quite a few months, which I think is amazing. For almost 7 months now, we've been predominantly only our staff. So it's a lot of familiar faces. We're all getting to know each other, and so really great things going on. We do not have COVID. I didn't want to jinx it, so I'm going to knock on some wood currently. And we haven't for the past few weeks. The last case was in April. So we're doing well there. A lot of things exciting, but that's it. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Awesome. Welcome and thank you. All right. Thank you, guys. Awesome. We wanted to make sure I covered a few things. Here, this is the favorite part of the program. Each month, we get to the questions and answers. All right. You guys have answers, and I have some questions. So. No, and in all seriousness, I think as we were getting ready to have the meeting, we saw the technicians in here working on putting in the new repeaters. Some of the radios, in particular in Fort Bunker and on Highland, we had some issues with them going down. We've been putting that in my newsletter each week, so that's actively being repaired. So hopefully today it'll be done. And it'll be 100% functional, but I will get an update from Rick here shortly. I don't see him here just as of yet. They actually went to pick up 3 new water heaters, and they were trucking them back. So I told them to be safe because they were sticking up way high in the truck, and I could just see it being some sort of a thing. So we got the repeater repairs going in, the G4 repeaters as part of our nurse call system, so that hopefully will be, again, 100% functional today. One thing we wanted to mention as well with these pendants is the pendants only work in the event of an emergency if you're wearing them, right? It sounds silly, I know, I'm sorry. Yes, ma'am. Right.
2 minutes later, I went on the door. So they do work.
They do work. So you dropped it and it must have activated it, which is great. But if you fall on the ground, all right, it's not the pendant that falls. If it's you and the pendant's hanging up on your key hook on the wall, it serves no purpose, right? So. This is, we're talking about this because we had an occurrence here in the last month, that was exactly this type of a situation. Luckily everybody's okay, but, it could have been worse, right? So I'm just trying, oops, there's Rick, right? So we want everybody to be safe. We understand that, wearing the pendants isn't always convenient. We have it, where you can wear it as like a wristwatch. We have it where you can wear it as a pendant or a necklace type thing. If you need something else, some other way of accommodating it, let us know, and we'll try to figure something out. But we want to be here for you, but we don't know that you're in trouble if we can't communicate with you. Yes, sir. I'll repeat the question. All right. So he was saying that he didn't realize, what the pendant really does. All right. I think we probably communicate that to everybody, when they move in, and maybe it got glossed over at some point. I'm not sure, but maybe it's something that each quarter at least we can revisit and refresh so everybody understands. So on our campus, we have a pendant or a nurse call system, right? And what that does is when you push the pendant, it radio triangulates your location and communicates that, to nursing, right? So if you're here in the chapel and you fall and you hit your pendant, it'll let them know that you're here in the chapel. If you're in the dining room and you fall or whatever happens and you push your pendant, it'll tell them that you're in the dining room, right? If you're in your home and you same thing, you know, you put it, it'll go. Same thing with the actual pull station, right? Well, I mean, it comes in the form of a lanyard or a wristwatch like this, or you can wear it like a necklace like this. We have our models here. So you can wear it either way, right? You can put it on a keychain. The wristwatch seems to be real popular. So, you got something to say about it, Katie? You want to stand up and show your pendant? You don't want to? No, I mean, you want to stand up and show your wristwatch? So it's just like a wristwatch. Ever see a wristwatch? Wristwatch, Miss Beauvais. Wristwatch, necklace, wristwatch, necklace.
Because everybody's wearing their pendant, right?
Right, pendant. Yep, I see, pendant. All right. There we go. Yes, ma'am. Ms. Joyner? I don't see a pendant. Got new ones? Well, normally the batteries, I want to say they're lithium-ion batteries and they last for 5 years, right? Normally. So they do check them. That's part of the preventive maintenance on them. So it's good that they check, you know, and like any other, you know, piece of equipment or whatever, it could go bad before then. But that's why I think they do it. You check it monthly, right? So quarterly preventive maintenance. So yeah, if you're at Publix, it's not going to work. That's the G5. We only got G4. So no. But hey, Rick, come on up. You can give your update, and then we'll go. Yes, ma'am. We'll go back to the lovely Q&A session.
The repeater that you mentioned is to take care of the gap in the nurse call system that exists, right?
But I don't understand the question.
You kept talking about the repeater. What is it for?
It's a radio. The things on the walls are locators, and it's probably a multi-function thing, right? Let me get back here in front of you so you can don't have to get a kink in your neck. The devices on the walls, I say repeaters, but it's a transmitter.
There's locators and repeaters.
Right. So it takes the signal, sends it back to a base station, right? And for the AL folks in particular, it'll say, you know, help needed chapel, right? And it'll give a location, right? So we have sort of two systems. We have one in the health center and then one everywhere else. Yes, ma'am.
Are they being installed in other places besides the chapel?
So the G3 repeaters, I want to steal Rick's thunder, but the G3 repeaters are being replaced with the G4 repeaters, right? And that's the ones that you've seen in my TGI FYI that we've had to issue in Fort Bunker, right? So.
Okay. The system that we have. You got a question.
Can you let them know how they ask for a wristwatch in case they have a pendant already?
If you prefer a wristwatch band, just call maintenance and Lisa will place the work order for you. Yes, Judy.
If you're out walking and say you're down by the dock in the lake and you slip whatever, can it locate you out on the ground or do you have to be close to a building?
It will triangulate, like Doug said. It'll give us a general location where to look. And what it does, it broadcasts your address first, and then it'll broadcast saying it's a pendant, and then it'll triangulate the location. So I don't recall the address down by, I think it's 635 is Deb Griner's, and then there's another one across the street, which is the Mowens. It'll triangulate that area right there, where to go look. It's not going to say you're on the dock or the boardwalk or anything like that. It's going to triangulate the location, and then maintenance or security will go out there and look in that area.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Well, we'll keep looking. Right? We have to clear it.
Yeah, we have to clear it because then it won't broadcast over the radios anymore. But I just talked before I walked in. I was out there talking to the nurse call installers now. It's ARCare. And they are going to be out here the rest of this week. And what this, you know how, and I'm sure this happened to many of you, at 1 o'clock in the morning or 2 o'clock in the morning, maintenance or nursing will come knocking on your door and say, "Are you all right?" With this new system, it's supposed to clear all that on up. So it's like a computer, like Windows, and you know how they keep improving their systems. This is the same way. It's a computer, and we have to keep upgrading, keeping up with the new technology, and that's why we're doing this. Because our technology was 15 to 16 years old, and it's like anything else, it gets outdated. So that's why we're doing it. So this is supposed to clear up the false calls. It's supposed to be more reliable, which we really didn't have. Reliability, I mean, it was never really an issue, but it's also going to have less devices on the campus because it's going to be a stronger system altogether. So, and the part just came in for the radio. They're going to have that installed tonight, Katie. And so everything should start broadcasting over the radios again. The system was never really completely down. It's just it wasn't broadcasting over the radios, and we did lose a section over here on Highland Street. So that's why we had to replace the system. Okay. Any more questions about the nurse call? No? Okay, last month there was concerns about the women's room bathroom stall door in Nora Rife across the dining room, how it was swinging, it hit the doors. And so we got the parts in and we replaced that so the doors will not hit each other now when you go in and out of the bathroom stalls.
I'll tell you, it's great.
Okay, we got one that likes it, okay. So that has been taken care of.
The simple things in life.
Yeah, exactly. The tree company's been out here for the last 2 days, trimming trees down in Waverly Place, Waverly Court, and in Terrace Gardens. They are not done yet, so if you're residents saying, well, they haven't been to my area yet, be patient. They're going to be out here next week, and the following week they're just going to do it in increments. There's a lot more that needs to be trimmed than we're trying to get them off the houses for the hurricane season. There was quite a bit of overgrowth, so they're going to be out here for the next probably 3 weeks to a month, continuous trimming. So if you notice something, let us know and add it. We'll add it to the list. Call Lisa, and we can add that to the list. But they're still going to be out here trimming. So no concerns, because we've had a lot of residents saying they weren't down Lakeside Court or they weren't up on Highland Street. So they're going to be out here for the next month or so. The new work order program, we started that earlier, Monday of this week. So we have that up and running now. So it's called MicroMain. And the guys are using their iPads now. Before, we're just giving them a sheet of paper. So they have their iPads or working off their phones. So the new work order program is going. And we're also working in our preventive maintenance. We just hired a new security guard. And he'll be he's training this week. And so we'll have him up and going, working third shift security. And then Art, our other security guard, hopefully he'll be off of medical leave, and we'll be up to full staff at nights. So, yes?
Whenever we are requesting a work order, we just simply request a work order. We still continue using the email approach to call Lisa.
You can email, if you email Lisa, include myself and Jono in it.
Okay.
Because you just never know when I'm going to be on vacation, or Lisa or Jono, so include all three of us, and that way we'll be sure we'll get taken care of for you.
Thank you.
I got you. I'm coming to you. speaking.
Palmetto Gate. Last time we talked, it was supposed to be open until 7:30. I pulled up there at 7:15, so just, it needs to be advertised. What is the close and open date?
Okay, we'll add that to Doug's newsletter. Sure. You know, it's like everything, it runs on a clock. So we'll get the exact time, but I'm pretty sure it's a digital clock, but it should be, but we'll get the exact time. We'll put that in Doug's, now read this, or TGI.
Do we know when we will get the wider screen for the chapel? It's important not just to movies, but to other presentations as well. They go off the edge.
Okay. Etta, you want to take care of this one?
We're working on not only upgrading the screen, but also the entire sound system for the chapel. And it was all designed to be one package. So we are working on that. It is in the makes. We are contacting our vendors for that, but it's going to be all one package that's it's going to happen in for the upgrade for the chapel. And I know that can be a separate piece, but that piece is going to be included as they redo the audio as well as the visual in the chapel. So what we're looking at the audio, we're looking at Bluetooth capability for your hearing aids so that you can hear, better microphone, better projection, a balanced sound, all of that for a better experience, not just only on Sunday, but every day for those who are using equipment. We're also looking at the equipment we have and trying to condense and make it user-friendly for all of us, because there's some of us who know part of the system and some of us who don't know the entire system, and I'm one of those persons as well. So just have a little patience with us. We should be working on that in the next month. We should see that start coming to a change, but that's what we're waiting on.
When do the bids close for?
The bids that close for them, actually, that's more information than I am able to give out right now because all right, we have a private donor who actually is going to finance that. And so they're involved in the negotiation of that. So,
Are we looking at like a year or?
no, we're not looking at a year. We're looking, no, we're looking at over the summer and the next month or so. We're looking at that. We've already got companies contacted and in mind, but we're working with a person who is going to finance that program for us. And so I think that calls us to be just a little more patient and be grateful that they're doing that for us, because it's a well-needed system. It is going to cost us an expense that we did not have budgeted because we were trying to take care of other things, but it is an important expense. And so we're just grateful that the person is offering to do that and work with us. So Doug and Rick and Jono and I are involved in that conversation as a team together. So we're well aware of who's being contacted and who's being contracted for the job.
Well, thank you to the donor and thank you to all of you for getting it done. I appreciate it a lot.
Okay, Paula said thank you to the donor and thank you to everyone who's working to get that done for us there. So if you would just give us a little bit, we're getting there. And again, we're working to make the room user-friendly for all of us so that we don't have a lot to do. They're already in the process of that. We've got things down to, with a camera adjustment, it's an automatic adjustment with one button rather than trying to navigate that. Our YouTube is back on today, but it's down to where it's one button to do the YouTube. So we're making it simple, so it's simple to use, but at the same time, we are going to upgrade equipment. We are going to make it where we have different microphones and a different sound system, because I know how to use the mic because I use it every Sunday, but again, some people talk and they move and you don't hear. Well, if you're using your hearing aid and you have the Bluetooth capability, it won't matter on our end because you'll be well received and you'll hear what's going on at the chapel and you won't miss information that isn't repeated or that someone might have said and you just didn't understand. So I thank you for your patience in that as well.
The elevator that goes down quite frequently off of the ALF. Has that gone down lately? No. Well? Okay. When it goes down, I have instructed my staff not to reset it. Every time we reset it and it goes down, when they come out here, it's working fine. So we've already paid for repairs on it, so it's under warranty still. And so I'm working with that company, and I've already told them a couple times how much of an inconvenience it is for our residents and staff. So I am staying in contact with them frequently on this until they get it repaired. So I will update you next month on our next meeting on that. Okay. Any other concerns for environmental or maintenance? No? Okay, one other thing. I am on vacation next week. So Jono, get in touch with John or Lisa.
Rick's worked here for 35 years. That's something, isn't it? And before Rick gets too far away, we did have a conversation about life safety here at our community. And, all right. Now we're all interested to know what they're talking about, right? All right. So we were talking about life safety, and we've recently had inspections, the state surveyors out here for the health center and the AL, and there's a couple things mentioned, one of which of course we're taking care of because it was a compliance thing, but another one that was issued, I mentioned that is a little more personal to you all, and that is our wheelchairs, walkers, things left out in the hall, right? Entry and egress is something that is compliance and a life safety issue, with the state, right? So the hallways are supposed to be kept clear for entry and egress in particular in the case of a fire, right? So if you do have a walker, a wheelchair, power chair, bicycle, I don't know what else would be out there, but we need to bring it inside. Right, we need to bring it inside your door. If we need some assistance, to accommodate that inside, and you need help with that, let us know, and we will do, what we can to help you. Right, but we want to keep everybody safe. We certainly don't want to get fined for something like this. So let's just be proactive, keep everybody safe, and go on from there. The other couple things that were on my agenda to talk to you about was the dining room. As everybody is aware, we're good, thank you. As everybody is aware, that there's been a number of changes around campus, right, and in different areas, and one of those areas has been the dining room. We are very aggressively working towards providing you more services in there, and as we go through changes in there, I can do nothing but apologize, for some, service delivery, issues. We would like, for all of our staff to have, worked in a 5-star restaurant at some point in their past, but unfortunately, some of our staff members have never worked in a restaurant at all, right? So they're not familiar with taking orders and writing down things on a tablet, and they're learning. I'll be working, closely with Eric with that. We have some visiting directors of dining services that are going to be coming up here beginning Monday. They're going to be helping with it, and we're working with both Mario and Chaz from our CSS support teams, on it. And we're going to continue to train the staff and upskill them so they can serve you better, all right? So that's what's going on in the dining room. And then the other question I've been hearing a lot about is concerns around the Loving Care Fund. In particular with the name change with Westminster, or the affiliation with Westminster. So first of all, I want to tell you that I do not have all the answers just yet. But secondly, the Loving Care Fund is a restricted fund. And what restricted means in this case is those funds can only be used for what they were designated for, right? I cannot dip into those funds and help, finance payroll or build a new sound system or put, fix units for move-ins for new residents. They can only be used for contract residents that have exhausted their funds out of no fault of their own, right? There's still an approval process. It goes to a committee. We have a different board, and one of our board members is here today, Mr. Scott Langston. It would still go in front of the board for approval and to a committee of CSS representatives, and then either approved or denied from there. Anybody have any questions about that we can take notes about, hopefully answer? If not, get you the answer. Yes, ma'am.
We were told at one point, I only heard once, that when a resident got down to a certain point in their resources, and I believe it was $140,000, that they were to let the director know so that they could begin to help that client.
I'll repeat the question.
Prepare for using that, the looking for other resources like Medicaid, Medicare, or well, we got Medicare, but Medicaid and other resources available to them. Is there an amount that, I think we would all like to know this, that when we get near it, that we need to let somebody appropriate know so that we can get assistance, so that we do the best we can.
Sure. All right. So the question is, as things progress, and we have, you all have, your finances out here, and as we draw down on those finances, is there a certain point where maybe you want to come and talk to me, right? And start thinking about, am I a danger of exhausting my resources? What do I do if I do, right? I may or may not have an estate planner involved, right? We may have to get that person engaged. So we can see if there's a number, for that, that we want to look at. I mean, there's all different variables, right? Your age, your health, what your monthly service fees and expenses are. There's a ton of different, questions that we would have to, answer and ask, to provide an answer. But I'll tell you this, this in conjunction with the Loving Care Fund that was here at Florida Presbyterian, that Westminster, right, also has a benevolence assistance program that's very well funded. And I know I speak to Jeff Coates, who's the vice president of the foundation program, and he tells me that with all of the recipients that do tap into those resources, that they have never actually tapped into the principal. They're still the money's invested, and they're working off the interest income from those investments. So it's a very well-funded program. It's something maybe that we can talk about in our next board meeting. If there's when we have a question and answer component to it, and we could probably something we could bring up and have some answers given to it. I know that Deb Greiner sent some questions about it. I sent it up to Hank Keith, and there is some things that they have to do to operationally bring the Loving Care Fund and the Westminster's Benevolence Fund sort of in line with one another. But that is a restricted fund, and nothing is happening with the money. I can tell you, additionally, I think that's probably what you were going to say. I think we just recently had a donor to the Loving Care Fund, and it went into that restricted fund. Yes, sir. Scott Langston, board member.
Yeah, there was two questions here, and what I wanted to address was, one was the Loving Care Fund, which most all of you are familiar with, and then the Westminster Benevolence Fund. But the question was, as I understood it, when is there an amount that when we get to that level, should we let somebody know? So what my advice, and Doug touched on it, would be if you have like a financial a planner or estate planning attorney that deals with Medicaid, there's things that you can do now way before you may not have the money you needed. So planning is so important. So my recommendation and advice is to talk to whoever you trust to do those things. I do Medicaid planning, and people come in with plenty of money, but there's things that you can do just in case. Because if you're going into the nursing home, it's going to be very expensive. And I think we have a lot of people now currently on Medicaid, don't we, in the nursing center?
About half.
Yeah.
Yep.
So anyway, I just wanted to say that.
All right. Thank you. All right. Anybody have? Yes, ma'am.
This might be out of order, but I would like to say congratulations to you. In the 20 years that I have lived here, I have never heard anybody speak publicly trying to tell us about the loving care and the conversation that we have just held. I think you deserve a big deal of credit.
Oh, that's, thank you, and, thank you. We're, if you have questions, I think we had a resident council meeting, this past week, and I think I got a little excited in giving some responses. Sometimes I get a little passionate, right? And I understand that all the, questions and answers are not simple, right? And I understand, in particular, I'm not going to have all the answers, but, you can always ask me a question. And fortunately, I got somebody back there, Miss Mandy, writing down notes, so we'll take the questions back and get answers. So, any other questions? Just in general, we don't have to be loving care fund. Yeah, come talk to me if you have a concern. Talk to somebody. If you feel safe talking to Miss Etta, talk to Miss Etta. If you're okay coming talking to me, come talk to me. But don't suffer in silence and worry and fret and think, what am I going to do? If you have a financial planner, go seek that person out and say, I'm concerned about my future. I've I don't know. I invested a bunch of money and I don't know, what's a bad investment? I don't know. So whatever. So you bought some waterfront property in the Everglades and it's not panning out for you, right? So, but yeah, talk to somebody. Just don't worry about it. Yes, ma'am. Questions? No? Yes, sir.
A certain portion of our entrance fee and monthly fees is, I believe, medically tax deductible.
Mm-hmm.
But it's important to know, some of us ahead of time, what that's going to be for this year. What percent is it? How do we figure that out? Because if I were a financial planner for somebody, I'd need to know that information. I'm my own financial planner. But what we're trying to do is convert a traditional IRA funds over to Roth IRA. All right, as you do that, every time you do that, that counts as income. All right, so what the problem is there then, if your income goes above these little increments, your MAGI, modified gross income, goes up to a certain point, Medicare jumps in there and raises your IRMA rates. So you have to plan that kind of conversion out ahead of time and get it done so that you don't break into a great Medicare payment that you have to pay. So bottom line question, any idea when that information will become available?
So each year, so he was asking, questions regarding taxes and what sort of, tax advantages, there are, being in the community and how to maybe take advantage of them. So first of all, I'll tell you that we cannot give officially, finance advice, but I'll tell you that you live in an information-rich, community because everybody, deals with this. Each year before tax time, we have spreadsheets and handouts about ad valorem taxes and whatnot, and we field a lot of calls about people, what do I do with my taxes? What do I do about, how do I deduct this and that? And I typically direct them to folks like Mr. Scott Langston and elder law attorneys and financial planners and CPAs and whatnot. So, but we do hand out information in regards to ad valorem and how that can be deducted. I see another question stewing around in there. Yes, sir.
Our experience for the last 3 years has been when we meet with our CPA. Our particular CPA company happens to be the same company as Westminster Lakeland's CPA company.
Okay.
So as he prepares our tax returns, now please correct me, as I understand it, I still don't quite understand it, but if you take our monthly administrative fee, the check that we write every month, I believe about a third of that amount is considered a medical deduction, which is a great advantage for all of us if that's the way it works. Now, it has worked, and it's been a great benefit in the fact that we haven't paid any income taxes for the last 2 years. Oh no, last year we paid a little bit. This year, zip. Now, that depends, of course, on other medical expenses, our doctors and drugs and so forth. But when you add it all up, that piece, that one deduction, is huge. So that's one example. Now, don't quote me about that.
So inside of all that,
way it's
too,
been working for us.
Right, inside of that, tax code is constantly changing, right? So you have to, that's why I can't stand up here and tell you with 100% certainty to do this or that and then it not work. So I always direct people to their tax professional. And Miss Linda in the business office, she does have handouts, for that. Right? There's information we do provide, but ultimately we steer you towards, if you're doing it yourself. I mean, we're steering you back to yourself, but we'll do what we can to assist with that. Right.
I can't find out before the end of this calendar year what's happening with
Right. So he has questions about sort of managing his taxes through the year, and wants to have the information. Yes.
Doug, we get a letter every year from our financial area here that we give to our tax person.
Okay. Right.
So wouldn't it be advisable for him to talk to our finance people?
Yeah, so that's what I'm going to direct you to visit with Miss Linda if you haven't met Linda Weber yet or not. She's been here for 35 years. And, well, this is Samantha. 41 years. 41 years. I'm. Yeah, so they're down there. They can help with that. They said they had no idea. Well, let me. We'll have to take it to the next level then. Sometimes, I can tell you that we have to ask the questions, maybe the same question, a couple different ways to get the right response. But I can tell you 100% that they do send out information, prior to tax time, and so I know they put stuff together, right? But I can. Right. So, yeah. Okay. All right. Well, I'll see if I can help you with it. Yes, ma'am.
People go to CPAs a lot to have their taxes done.
Mm-hmm.
And I want to tell you that until just a few years ago, CPAs never had to take any classes on taxation to become a CPA. And that's why I did not. Instead, I became an enrolled agent for my clients. And I'm, of course, not working any longer. But enrolled agents are there because they are trained by the IRS. And they have to take classes every single year because the tax law is changing.
Right.
So I really recommend anybody going to get their taxes done. If you go to a CPA firm, find out if they've got an enrolled agent who can do your taxes.
Right.
Find a local enrolled agent.
Thank you. So I would ask you to do is, if you have a specific question about the taxes, send me an email. I think you should, right? Just send me an email with it. And we have a whole building full of accountants and analysts, and somebody will have the answer. Or at least tell us where to go. Even if it's fly a kite. All right, every time we have this meeting, I think, oh man, we're going to end real early, and now we're 10 minutes over. So it's 2:10. I appreciate everybody's time. Unless there's any other, really urgent questions, have a good day. Thank you.